of both Jewish and Arab communities that live next to the river to be part of the project, which means they are taking care or taking part of the restoration, and later on they enjoy what they have been part of, which of course will give more hopes, will increase our hopes that this situation will be maintained for many, many years. Another river that was under a very big stress is the Alexander River. This is a 32-kilometer river flowing from the Palestinian Authority to the Mediterranean Sea. Similar way to many other rivers in Israel, the river was highly polluted, but in this case, many of the pollution, agriculture, industrial waste and wastewater, mainly from construction industry, they were flowing from the Palestinian Authority. And as you can assume, our ability to control and supervise the pollution from other countries is normally very small, if there is any possibility at all. So what we did in Israel, we caught the wastewater after they crossed the river, we collected it, and we treated it. We treated ourselves in order to maintain the situation, the well situation in the river, in the Israeli side of the border. Now the river is a very popular recreation site with large turtles swimming in the water and a special reserve for birds being included in the restoration project. You can see some of the figures. This is the place on the left side where the people come and enjoy to watch the huge turtles that swim in the water. They wouldn't be able to survive in the water that was before the restoration and the prevention of pollution. And this is another project for the birds, a small lake next to the river that was constructed during the restoration. Now, all of this Israeli experience can be exploited, can be used to help also the situation in other countries. And I'm speaking now especially on the strategic action plan for the Bahia de Omoa marine region. As we want, together with other very good forces from the academia and other bodies in Guatemala and Honduras, to change it from marine litter to a circular economy system. In this case, YAMOF, an Israeli company involved in environmental, multinational environmental project, together with the pontifical organization Scholarship Corrientes and local communities, academic sectors in some of the participating countries, want to establish a binational, Honduras, Guatemala, tech transfer center for the development of holistic and joint strategic action plan for dealing with the major environmental crisis in Bahia de Omoa. As I mentioned in the Israeli case, very important to bring the most influential part together. In this case, the academia has a substantial part because most of the highly professional personnel come from the academia. Some of the solution is definitely involved a technological part. It's very important to bring the municipalities and the local governance because in order to perform such a project, it is not an academical project, and it's very important to be able to join forces with the public, with the community, because some of the pollutions come from the community. We don't want the community to keep pollute, and on the contrary, we want to pollute the people and the community help to restore and maintain the situation in good environmental conditions, so everybody can enjoy the nature. So The impact of such a project is expected to be, first of all, the cleaning of the Caribbean coastal areas around the border with Guatemala and Honduras from plastic pollution, and then recycling the plastic as a new material, as an energy source, as some other, let's say, circular economy projects that we're involved with. A long-term increase of awareness among the local population to the issue of environmental protection and sustainability. Some components of this project must be the increase of awareness, because we don't want the situation to deteriorate after the restoration has been achieved. We want to get another benefit is formation of professionals that wants to lead and would like to lead the sustainability issues in the long term. And I'm speaking especially to you as students, as leading students, that in the future, you will be the people in charge, and you will be the people that will help maintain a good and healthy environment in your countries that people can enjoy, and not in preventing any even small situation, that small chance that situation will deteriorate in the future. So very important for the young professionals to be part of such an initiative. We hope that in the future there will be a transformation for the use of more degradable materials. So accumulation of such plastic will not be an option. This may take more time. And the promotion of new model of regional technological transfer, integrating, internationalizing the Latin American academic research with socio-environmental problems in the region. The situation in Bahia de Omoa is, of course, very known, and it's a very big problem that has to be solved. But there are other environmental issues and environmental in the continent, and I think if we succeed in Bahia de Omoa to join the forces, to create a solution, to maintain the solution, to make it a sustainable solution, it will help us to take the experience we gain in this part of the continent and implement it in other places, in this way, to solve many other environmental problems that are existing. Thank you very much. This is the end of my presentation. And if there are any questions, I will be happy to answer.
Muchas gracias, profesor Spinner. Vamos a abrir el espacio para las preguntas y comentarios, a ver si los compañeros en el salón nos pueden ayudar a pasar el micrófono, y si hay preguntas, que ahora el profesor las pueda responder. Carlos y equipo técnico, ¿será que nos pueden apoyar con las preguntas?
Quizás tiene el micrófono cerrado.
Bueno, ya lo están habilitando ahorita, permítame. Abrimos el espacio para preguntas y comentarios. Por favor, si tienen alguna pregunta, nos la hacen saber para que el profesor Spinner pueda responderla.
Un poquito más allá para que no haya... Ahora.
No escuchamos, no se escuchan las preguntas.
Diego, ¿puede escribir en el chat también?
Sí, lo que pasa es que los estudiantes están en un salón de manera presencial, entonces estarán haciendo las preguntas por medio de un micrófono, que ya los compañeros están haciendo el espacio. Carlos, ahí se escucha como que habilita y después deshabilitan el micrófono.
Está conectado.
No se escuchan las preguntas, Carlos. ¿Será que tal vez Carlos nos puede ayudar escribiendo las preguntas en el chat?
Tal vez.
Carlos, compañeros, ¿están por ahí?
Ahora sí.
Escucha.
Sí, solo que con mucho eco, Carlos. Entonces, cuando habla, se escucha el eco del salón.
Sí, la computadora. El micrófono. ¿Me conecta la compu?
Ok, Carlos, ahora sí vamos a escuchar sus preguntas. Pueden hacerlas, ya desconectaron el feedback. La primera pregunta que tenemos por acá es, ¿cuáles han sido los mayores retos que han tenido en este proceso, profesor Spinner?
Si puedes traducir, es mejor.
Okay.
Si no tengo,
What are the challenges you have faced in all this process?
Ok. Entonces, primero es la budget.
El
First of all,
presupuesto.
is budget. You know, to treat the wastewater in such a way in so many parts of Israel cost a few billions of dollars to erect the wastewater treatment plant. Second challenge is to train people to operate such. So it is a professional challenge to train people, enough people that can manage and they can operate such a more complex plants. And this is fortunately was one part of my role in this situation. A third part is to understand that this effort should be a multi-component effort with people from the government, the academia, NGOs. You know, some of the NGOs in Israel that are in charge of maintaining the environment. And a very important part was the establishment of the Israeli Protection Ministry. It was only in the 80s that this ministry was actually established. And before, the environmental issues were not, let's say, nobody had the authority to deal with them, and nobody wanted to deal with them. So only after this ministry, and nowadays this ministry is one of the strongest one in Israel because it has a lot of force. It can enforce a lot of activities on the industry, on the municipality. It has a lot of power. So this is a big participant. But for example, for legislation of wastewater treatment, we have to erect a committee that contains participants from many ministries. Every ministry that is involved. The Ministry of the Economical Ministry, the Ministry of Economics for the money, Ministry of Public Health, because of the the effects of the issues of public health and diseases, The Ministry of Agriculture, because the water is after treatment is going to agriculture. The Water Authority to maintain the quality of the groundwater and river. Always representative of water authorities are part of the solution. And also, of course, the Ministry of Environmental Protection. So this is a multitask. Normally, once you want to have this kind of a project committed, there are participants from the public and private sector. The private sector mainly for the operation and the execution of such a project. At the end of the day, the government is not so experienced in doing this project alone, so they are getting in contact with some management company that knows how to put all the components together. In some of the cases, there is involvement of course, professionals in the fields of ecological system, in the fields of landscape agriculture, architecture or landscape architecture and development, people, of course, from the water consulting companies, etc. So we need a coordinator, a good coordinator that can, can operate like a conductor of an orchestra. Let everybody play together. Okay.
Yeah, this is very important for what we're trying to do is that to involve as many stakeholders as we can in all this project. Today, we had the Vice Minister of Tourism with us, the mayor of the city of San Pedro Sula, Puerto Cortes, and we invite many different actors in all this project to be here with us today at UTH in our auditorium. So we're trying to take that knowledge you're giving us to try to develop as much as possible alliances with people around the area of impact. Thank you, Dr. Spiller.
Diego, I cannot agree more than with what you said, and definitely this is a multi-component effort, but not just to solve the problem, even more to maintain it. So the part of the public and the community is very, very important. So I think once they see all the effort moving the right way, including involvement of people from the community in all the process, it gives a higher chances to get a sustainable solution.
Yeah, this project is, we're working with Universidad San Carlos de Guatemala, Texas Tech, and one group of our students are going to be traveling to Texas to take a course of wicked problem solutions. And our wicked problem is the pollution of Rio Motagua. So we're planning to develop a video, educational video in different languages, because Guatemala has many different languages inside the country besides Espanol or Spanish, I'm sorry. So we're trying to produce this video in different languages. I think 6 or 7 different languages or dialects in Guatemala and one in Honduras. So at the end, we're trying not only to understand what is going on around this area, but also we're trying to produce this educational video to try to involve as many people as possible and let them know what is the risk of all of this and what we have to do. Thank you. Okay, I have another question here. What kind of different biodegradable, I forgot the word in English.
Biodegradable, the biodegradable.
Materials are you working in Israel for packaging, for example?
Okay, so I'm not polymer engineers, but I'm a bit familiar there. There's a few companies in Israel involved in development and synthesis of biodegradable plastics. I think this activity or this effort is not just in Israel. There are many parts in the world. We are, for example, in connection with the group in Colombia that make it out of natural organic material. They make polymers, so it is more rapidly degradable than normal plastic, which is hardly degradable, and if it is degradable, it takes many years to be degraded. So nowadays they're developing a lot of new materials. I don't know all the sources, but if they will ask me by mail, I can refer to some Israeli companies.
Okay, thank you. There's another question in the chat. If you want, what is the way to ensure conservation of fossil water used in agriculture?
What I do not understand the question.
Me neither. Me neither. I don't know what he's trying to say. Okay. Maybe. Okay, I think it's more related with the water we use in agriculture. How we can use that water, and then to be sure that this water is not going to be another contamination point.
¿Cómo conservan los puntos pozos? ¿Qué significa pozos?
This is the place where you put the water on. Inside those places, and you take water out of these places.
La extracción de agua subterránea.
Okay. How are you going? How are you guys doing to take the water from the underground to agriculture?
I mean, in Israel, as I mentioned, some big part of the water for agriculture from treated wastewater. When it comes to wells, production of water by pumping from the aquifer, normally the water is treated above ground. If there are some pollution prevent us from irrigating, so we close the well. If the well is polluted by hazardous material, we close the well for many years sometimes. But if the water is quite good, we pump it. There is some basic treatment above ground, and also the quantities are monitored by the Israeli Water Authority. So we will not pump too much. Every well has the quantity that it can pump every year. You cannot go beyond it. So everything is nowadays more monitored and supervised.
Okay. Great, Dr. Spinner. We don't have more questions at this point. We want to thank you, Mr. Igdal, for all his support, and YA Maof. You always help our initiatives, and this is only the beginning of this project, and we're hoping to have better experiences in the near future to share with you in Israel too, and let you know what we are doing here.
Thank you very much, Diego. Gracias por la oportunidad de hablar con ustedes, y espero que los estudiantes serán una buena fuerza para mejorar la situación y mantener la situación mejor que ha mejorado en el futuro. Gracias.
Sí será. Muchísimas gracias. Excelente, jóvenes. Muchas gracias por participar, y a todo el equipo. Muchas gracias. Pasen buen día.
Gracias.
Un saludo. Jóvenes, después de esta charla, aprovechando la situación problemática, podamos observar de que no solo es una situación de país, es a nivel mundial el tema de la conservación de los recursos, las diferentes alternativas que se están implementando, y muchas de ellas pueden replicarse para esta zona. Es un problema, como lo mencionaba nuestro expositor, él desde Israel, allá es las horas de la noche, menos 8, 9 horas, creo que sí. Te adelanto.